I know he's trapped in the closet.
Mr. Sherman, tap the door.
Tap the door in the closet.
Yeah.
You see yourself on?
See yourselves. Okay. I'd like to call the order Utility Special District Meeting. The date is October 4th and the time is 5:32. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Chairperson Lawson,
Here.
Vice Chair Lanier, Board Member McCoy,
Here.
Board Member Miller Anderson,
Present.
Board Member Botel,
Here.
ex officio Board Member Mayor Ronnie Feld. Mr. Chair, he did send correspondence to the office this afternoon indicating he wouldn't be here tonight.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Jonathan Evans, City Manager,
Present.
Michael Lowe, Executive Director,
Present.
Tawana King, District Clerk is present, Don Wynn, District Attorney,
Here.
Randy Sherman, District Finance Director. Tonight, Mr. Chair, we will have our pledge recited by Ms. Marlee Whipple.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So if we can have a moment of silence and welcome Ms. Marlee Whipple. Marlee Whipple, whose mother is Latondra Campbell, attends JFK Middle School and she's an honor roll student. She's a Safe School Ambassador, a member of the News Club, and even joins the flag team in the band. When she gets older, she wants to be a lawyer and attend Harvard Law. Right now, though, she's just striving for greatness. Ms. Marlee, thank you and welcome. If you can, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Marlee will be joining us at the City Council meeting as well. So thank you and welcome. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
None from staff, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chair.
Madam Clerk, Dr.
Yes,
Botel.
thank you. Could we move item 7A to consent? It's applying for a grant.
7A, consent. I have no objection. Board? Motion to adopt agenda
So moved.
with necessary changes.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Madam Clerk?
Board Member Botel,
Yes.
Board Member Miller Anderson, Board Member McCoy,
Yes.
Chairperson Lawson.
Yes.
That vote passes for Mr. Chair with Chair Pro Tem Lanier absent.
Thank you. No items on consent agenda. We're going to go into a regular utility district agenda, item 7A.
Well, that's on consent
That's-
now.
I'm sorry, 7B. Thank you. Well, I apologize. We're going into consent. Motion to accept consent.
So moved. Second.
Motion been made and properly seconded. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Board Member Botel, Board Member Miller Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member McCoy,
Yes.
Chairperson Lawson.
Yes.
That vote passes for Mr. Chair with Chair Pro Tem Lanier out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Regular agenda, 7B.
Absent, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Regular agenda, 7B.
Resolution number 25-23 UD, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the City of Riviera Beach Utility Special District, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving an agreement with AC Shuttles of Florida Incorporated for the cleaning and testing of raw water well number 12, well number 802, and well number 2004, authorizing the Utility Special District Finance Director to make payments from project number 23023 in an amount not to exceed $230,523.60 and providing for an effective date. Mr. Chair, we do not have any public comment cards on this item. The acceptance of public comment cards for item 7B is now closed.
Motion to approve resolution number 25-23 UD.
Second.
Motion been made and properly seconded. Mr. Evans?
Mr. Chair and members of the board, if I can have the Executive Director of the Utility District, Mr. Michael Lowe, to make this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is an ongoing program we have. We had reports done on our well field. There are 27 wells, and we're now going through a period of rehabilitation and testing one by one. The first well, the work is due to start the week after next. This is the next 3 that we've identified. We prioritize the work, and these are the ones where we hope to get the best benefit immediately from the work that's entailed. If we can't rehabilitate wells, we're trying to avoid having to re-drill any of them because the cost would be much greater.
And Mr. Lowe, if you could give us that cost of re-drilling the wells, the estimated cost.
To re-drill a new well?
Yes.
Would be about $1.5 million. So rehabilitating a well at just over around 100,000, depending on the well, it varies depending on what we have to do, is a much better bet at this point. Yeah.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect. Pro Temp Lanier is on the board. Okay, questions from the board? Madam Clerk?
Board Member Botel,
Yes.
Board Member Mill Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member McCoy,
Yes.
Board Member Chair Pro Tem Lanier,
Yes.
Chairperson Lawson.
Yes.
That vote passes unanimously, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Resolution 2623, 7C.
A resolution of the Board of Directors of the City of Riviera Beach Utility Special District, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving allocations of road improvement funds to the City of Riviera Beach for the replacement of a water main and associated appurtenances along West 28th Street, authorizing the Utility Special District Finance Director to make payments from account number 23044 in an amount not to exceed $125,000 and providing for an effective date. Mr. Chair, we do not have any public comment cards on item 7C. The acceptance of public comment cards for this item is now closed.
Motion to approve resolution number 26-23 UD.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and properly seconded. Mr. Evans?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, if I can have the Executive Director of the Utility District, Mr. Michael Lowe, to make this presentation.
Mr. Evans, Mr. Chair, thank you. Michael Lowe, Executive Director. This item is for $125,000. It is the, recently the City Council approved the building of Fire Station 87. And whilst we were working with them in terms of what work was needed for the fire station itself, it became apparent that it would be of benefit to the district also to take that opportunity to increase the capacity of the water main down that street as we go on with our overall rehabilitation needs throughout the distribution system. So this should have come before you earlier, but this is for the work that we identified that we should be paying for, as opposed to the work that has to be met by the construction of the new fire station.
Thank you, Ms. Lowe. Public comments?
We don't have any, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Board members?
Mr. Chair,
Councilman McCoy. Board Member McCoy, go ahead.
thank you. Mr. Lowe, you said, you, meaning we, as the utility district, recognize this is work that we should be paying for.
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize that? Because
Every time there is a project that's ongoing, we look at what's going on with that project and whether there's any opportunity for us to get any beneficial use out of the ongoing work. In this particular case, we are going to need to upgrade the water mains in that area. There's an old deficient 6-inch AC asbestos cement main on the other side of the road, which ultimately is going to have to be replaced.
Find on the other side of the road in your Apple Music library.
Sorry.
You can ask me to play a radio station.
Sorry.
Or ask for your music on a different app.
I'm really not playing.
So ultimately, this main will be continued further down the street. But at this point, whilst they're working in that area, it makes sense for us to do the upgrade. This is something we do in discussion on any project that's ongoing.
Mr. Chair,
Board Member, go ahead.
and the project that you referred to at least a couple times is which one?
Fire Station 87,
Okay.
rebuild.
Okay. All right. Members, I think back in July, we had this item where we surprisingly learned during the first change order that the utility district was actually furnishing $125,000 towards the water main improvement, which we had not voted on by the board. And I want to call the members' attention to our utility district charter that specifically says the city shall have no authority to require the district to use the district funds or assets for any particular purpose. And clearly we have a situation that's before us where that exactly happened, where the project, the fire station, literally caused the utility district to use its funds and resources to this project. Certainly, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't like to come and be asked for after the fact approval after staff has already went ahead and unilaterally made this decision, which completely undermines our role as board members. So for that reason, I'm not going to support this item because this is wholly against the charter in the very plain language that the city shall have no authority to require the district to use the district's funds or assets for any particular purpose. That's all I have.
Thank you, Board Member. Mr. Lowe, just to follow up on Board Member McCoy's comments, this charge of $125,000 is being brought to us after it's already been completed, the work's been completed?
The work hasn't been completed yet, no.
Okay. So I guess the concern is that we've already moved forward with it on the city side, but the utility district is now bringing it before us.
Yeah, the utility district don't disagree. We thought at the time we should be, but we were perhaps unfortunately led in the wrong direction.
How do we avoid this for future projects?
We will ensure that if this is the case in the future, our team will ensure that we bring something forward to the board as appropriate.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Mr. Evans, go ahead.
to provide additional clarity with respect to the project, as part of the development review committee that looks at capital projects, what happened in this particular case is that the project Fire Station 87 does not need the upgrade to be able to continue. This was something as part of the review process that the utility district communicated that they wanted to see improvements because of the age and the condition and the type of material that that particular pipe is made out of. So that is something that the district brought forward, but it is not a situation where that was utilized for the purposes of funding the project to be able to close any financial gaps or what have you. That was a request by the district to the city to go ahead and make the appropriate investments to be able to upsize the line and improve for future growth. So I did want to provide that as some backdrop to the situation.
I guess to follow up and piggyback on that, is this something that the district can be proactive with all the development that we have? Because I know that we have a lot of facilities we'll be updating and upgrading. Is this something that they can look into before the fact?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mr. Evans, go ahead.
Yes, the district is actually part of the review committee when it comes to these types of large scales projects. So they have a proverbial seat at the table. So it'd be incumbent upon the district when they identify for those upsizes or those projects that they want to see enhancements to the system to bring that before the board by virtue of whether it's a budgeted item or by a item such as this evening to be able to facilitate that. But they are intimately involved in the process.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Evans. Board members?
Mr. Chair.
Board Member McCoy, go ahead.
So to respond to that, seemingly that would make sense in a perfect situation. However, we know nothing is a perfect process, but certainly if that was true, that statement that the manager made, then why is it that the city, particularly the fire department or the fire station, can literally drive projects to be accelerated on our capital plan? So whether you consider it to be the case or not, this wasn't even anticipated until the fire station came up. And until Mr. Bailey presented in that July meeting, this would have never came before us because I literally was like, well, I sit as UD and I don't recall it. So I certainly want to support the fire station, but I don't support the process, the very bad and poorly managed process of bringing us stuff that's not fully cooked. And that's clearly what we have in this situation. So you can say that it was done in development review or what have you, but the truth is there are a number of other projects that's listed in the capital plan for the utility special district. It certainly isn't being done the first week into the new fiscal year. And that's the problem. The city is driving our capital plan based off of the city's needs. And that's clearly what we have. We've never approved any kind of capital project or any kind of capital expenditure in the first week of the new fiscal year. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Board Member.
Mr. Chair, if I may just
Mr. Lowe,
clarify a bit.
Please.
There are numerous projects that we are evaluating at the moment. The situation we can find ourselves in is, for instance, that there's a large project and they need to upgrade the lines around that project in order to meet their needs for fire flow or anything else. But at the same time, when we're looking at that, we're also looking at what else is going on within the district service area and whether or not there's some other project that we may be aware of that at this point hasn't reached the stage where it ought to be. And we therefore need to ask them, and sometimes it might be on our dime to begin with, to make further improvements within the project because they're already working there. As an example, the project might need an 8-inch water line, but we realized looking at our hydraulic models that ultimately we're going to need a 12-inch water line. Therefore, we have to reach an accommodation with whomever it is doing the work to ensure that we put the right size lines for the future. And this is one of the things in this case with other work that's ongoing.
Thank you, Director Lowe.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mr. Evans, go ahead.
To add on to Mr. Lowe's comment, it is very common. It happens quite often, probably every day in certain utilities because the private sector as well as the public sector, depending on what the infrastructure needs or demands are, make enhancements and improvements or request of either the private developer to make the improvements or the city or the district to make those improvements at whomever's cost. So there is a lot of times where as a result of a development project, it expedites improvements to the system to be able to accommodate whatever that growth or that demand is. And so in this particular situation, and we did go back, there was no other situation whereby the district had taken this other step when it came to capital projects with regards to the city. But I can assure you that moving forward, that we will have a dual process whereby the district will also co-sign, as they're involved in the process, any infrastructure improvements where there is upsizes that the district would have to pay for on behalf of the project, whether it's vis-a-vis the private developer or the city.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Any other comments from the board? Madam Clerk?
Board Member Botel,
Yes.
Board Member Miller Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member McCoy,
No.
Chair Pro Tem Lanier,
Yes.
Chairperson Lawson.
Yes.
That vote passes, Mr. Chair, 4-1, with Board Member McCoy dissenting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Discussion by City Manager,
None, Mr. Chair.
Executive Director.
Mr. Chair, if I may, yes, just to keep you updated with where we are with the water plant project. We are anticipating next week receiving what's called the Basis of Design Report. This is a very extensive report. They've been doing a lot of work in the background and we've been in meetings with them. This report will detail in some length, because this report's 700 to 1,000 pages long, every aspect of what's being designed so that they can further and tighten their pricing of the overall project. So it's an important milestone and worth noting that that's been reached, and we'll get that report next week.
Thank you, Director Lowe. Board members, Board Member Botel? Lanier? Thank you, Pro Tem. Miller Anderson? McCoy?
Sir.
Thank you. If there's no further business, this meeting is now adjourned. We will